Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. Emily Parker was 17. A senior at a Brooklyn high school, she was known among her classmates for her big heart and insatiable curiosity. Always ready to lend a helping hand, she had that gentle gaze that inspired confidence. That day, after a long day of classes, marked by a particularly difficult history test and a debate club meeting where she passionately defended her ideas, Emily felt tired. She walked leisurely toward the subway station, her headphones playing a playlist of soothing jazz. The street was bustling, as usual at this hour, with hurried passers-by, the sound of cars, and the murmur of conversation. Yet, as she passed an old lamppost on the corner of Fifth Avenue, something caught her attention. A figure stood there, leaning against the post, as if hesitant, a little unsteady. An elderly woman, wearing a worn gray wool coat, the edges of which had begun to fray. An elegant hat, slightly askew, topped her silver hair, while she clutched a leather handbag, also a little worn. Her face bore the marks of time, deep wrinkles, a pale complexion, but above all, an expression of worry and confusion piercing her blue eyes. Emily paused for a moment, her instinct telling her she couldn't continue on her way without intervening. She took off her headphones, slung her bag over her shoulder, and approached quietly, without any urgency. "Hello, madam, are you well? Do you need help?" The old lady slowly looked up at her, surprised to see a teenage girl addressing her so gently. "Oh, my dear, yes. I think I got a little lost," she replied in a trembling voice. "I don't remember my address very well. I don't even know exactly where I am anymore." Emily smiled with reassuring warmth, placing a light hand on his arm. "Don't worry, I'll help you. You're not alone. What's your name?" The old lady looked at her with a small smile, almost relieved. "Margaret Hamilton, my dear." Emily nodded with a knowing smile. "Nice to meet you, Margaret. My name is Emily. Come on, we'll find your way together." Emily gently pulled her phone out of her pocket and turned on the screen. She wanted to do everything she could to help Margaret, but she knew the information was scarce. "Do you remember any other details, Margaret?" Emily asked, looking at the old woman carefully. "A street name, a number, anything?" Margaret squinted, trying to summon her memory. "I know I live on the Upper East Side. It's a neighborhood I really like, you know? But the exact address, it escapes me." Emily typed Upper East Side into her phone, then opened a mapping app. The neighborhood was large, but she hoped Margaret would remember something along the way. "No worries, we'll take it easy. We'll walk a little, and maybe some memories will come back to you." They began walking side by side down the street. The noise of the city grew fainter as they moved away from the bustling center into a more residential area lined with trees and wealthy houses. Margaret, silent at first, finally spoke, her voice weak but full of emotion. "You know, Emily, when I was younger, I traveled a lot. Paris, Rome, Tokyo. I had a passion for classical music, especially Chopin and Debussy, and I loved art. Museums, galleries. It was another time, another world." Emily listened to her with fascination. This woman, despite her advanced age, had retained a glimmer of wonder in her eyes. "But as time goes on," Margaret said a little sadly, "some things become harder to remember. Sometimes I find myself forgetting simple details, like my own path. It's frustrating." Emily smiled at him, full of compassion. "It must be difficult, but you are brave to keep moving forward." The old lady nodded gently. "Thank you, my dear. Sometimes it's the little encounters that give you strength." As they walked, Emily observed the elegant buildings of the Upper East Side. Red brick facades, windows adorned with white shutters, manicured gardens. The neighborhood exuded tranquility and refinement. After a good 30 minutes, they arrived in front of a large stone house, its imposing facade standing out among the trees. The meticulously tended garden overflowed with precisely trimmed rose bushes and shrubs. Margaret stopped, her eyes shining with a mixture of emotion and relief. "Here it is," she said softly. Emily looked at the house, impressed by the grandeur and beauty of the place. Margaret gently opened the door, her gaze falling on Emily with a certain tenderness. "Please come in, darling," she said in a soft but firm voice. "You've been a great help, and I want to thank you properly." Emily, initially surprised by this unexpected invitation, hesitated for a moment. But the curiosity and kindness that animated the old lady convinced her to accept. The door closed behind them, and Emily was immediately struck by the warm and elegant atmosphere of the house. The hardwood floors creaked slightly under their feet, and the dim light from the antique lamps bathed the walls in a golden glow. The walls were decorated with magnificent Impressionist paintings, Monet, Renoir, Degas, that seemed almost to vibrate in the light. A large white marble fireplace stood in the center of the living room, where a soft fire crackled, giving off a comforting warmth. Margaret guided Emily to a small seating area near a large window overlooking the flower garden. She gracefully settled into a velvet armchair, while Emily sat on a plush sofa. Without a word, Margaret went into the adjacent kitchen and returned a few minutes later with a tray on which rested 2 fine china cups, a steaming teapot, and a plate of small biscuits. "Earl Grey tea, my mother's favorite," Margaret announced, serving Emily. Emily gratefully accepted the cup, enjoying the warmth that warmed her hands. They remained silent for a moment, each savoring the tea, before Margaret broke the silence. "I'm truly grateful for your kindness, Emily," she said, her clear gaze fixed on the young girl. "It's rare these days to see a young girl like you help an old lady without hesitation." Emily felt a slight blush rise to her cheeks. "It's nothing, madam," she replied modestly. "I don't like to see anyone lost or in difficulty." Margaret took a deep breath, as if she wanted to weigh her words carefully. "You know, Emily, I don't talk about it often, because it's not what defines a person, but I'm a billionaire. I built my fortune in real estate and technology." Emily's eyes widened in surprise. "Billionaire?" she exclaimed, surprised. "But you don't seem like someone who likes to talk about it." Margaret gave a soft, almost melancholic smile. "Money isn't everything, my dear. I've lived a long time, and I've learned that what really matters is kindness, small gestures, compassion. That's why I wanted to thank you properly. What you've done for me is far more precious than any amount of money." Emily, touched by Margaret's sincerity, felt a new emotion invade her. This simple yet intense moment marked the beginning of an unexpected relationship between 2 generations that seemed separated by everything except human warmth. Margaret stood up slowly, leaning back briefly in her chair before walking over to a small mahogany chest of drawers, adorned with delicate carvings. She carefully opened a drawer and removed an elegant envelope, made of thick cream paper, with her initials, M.H., engraved in gold letters on the flap. She walked back to Emily, her eyes shining with genuine emotion. "This is for you, Emily," she said softly, her voice filled with warmth. "A little help so you can achieve your dreams, college, travel, or whatever you want to do." Emily felt her heart race, a mixture of astonishment and emotion overwhelming her. She reached out, trembling, to receive the envelope. She held it gently, as if this simple object contained a promise. Carefully, she tore open the flap and took out what she discovered inside, an elegant bank card, with a simple and refined design, accompanied by a handwritten letter on quality paper in blue ink. Emily unfolded the letter and read slowly, each word resonating with a special force within her. "Dear Emily, thank you for reminding me that kindness still exists in this world. Your generosity and gentleness are a true treasure. Use this gift wisely and never stop helping others. With all my heart, Margaret Hamilton." Emily's eyes welled up with tears. She turned to Margaret, her emotions nearly making her voice hard. Thank you. Thank you so much, Margaret. I don't know what to say. That's so generous." Margaret smiled at him, placing a caring hand on his shoulder. "You deserve every bit of help, Emily. Keep that light inside you." This moment, imbued with a rare sweetness, sealed a deep bond between them, a bridge between 2 generations, 2 lives that had crossed paths by chance on a street. In the weeks that followed, Emily and Margaret remained in regular contact. By phone, by letter, and sometimes during short visits to the large Upper East Side house, their relationship blossomed into a beautiful friendship. Margaret became a mentor, an inspiring figure, sharing her experiences and encouraging Emily to pursue her dreams. Thanks to Margaret's financial and moral support, Emily was able to attend a prestigious university where she studied art and international relations, 2 passions that had always driven her. Travel, exhibitions, and intellectual debates became part of her daily life, and she flourished. But above all, she retained the luminous energy of kindness, mutual aid, and humanity that had defined her from day one. This gift, much more than material aid, had reinforced in her the conviction that true wealth lies in generosity and compassion. A few years later, Emily Parker was no longer just a young girl from Brooklyn. She had become a renowned activist, a powerful and inspiring voice in her community and beyond. After graduating from college with honors, she dedicated her life to advocating for troubled youth, those who, like her once, were searching for a little light in the darkness. Driven by the values of compassion, empathy, and solidarity that Margaret had passed on to her, Emily founded a nonprofit organization, the Stars of Tomorrow. The mission of this association was to support adolescents in precarious situations by offering them academic support, access to the arts, as well as personal development workshops. Emily firmly believed that every young person deserved a chance to rise, find their way, and express their creativity. Her organization grew rapidly, attracting volunteers, donors, and institutional partners. Emily gave talks, participated in debates, and always shared her personal story with disarming sincerity. She recounted the improbable day on the streets of Brooklyn when she helped a lost elderly woman, unaware that this simple action would turn her life upside down. Every time she recalled this memory, a gentle smile lit up her face. That day, she often explained, I didn't just help an elderly woman find her way. I discovered a treasure far more precious than money, the power of kindness and human connection. Margaret showed me that true wealth can't be bought. It can be cultivated. It can be shared. This bond with Margaret, their deep friendship and shared commitment, continued to fuel his energy and determination. Emily had learned that sometimes the smallest gestures can trigger the greatest transformations. And it was this conviction that drove her, day after day, to fight for a more just, more humane world.